Many people consider Japanese animation to be a form of adult cartoons, even though overseas in Japan they don't really make that distinction and trust their audience to know what they like or watch and so forth. Anime comes in many forms, from the absolute silly, over-the-top adventures of a hamster to world-ending destructive battles against forces of evil, and even as far as the poor treatment of all these young schoolgirls by evil tentacled monsters. In this list, we wanted to take a specific look at fantasy anime, and even more specifically, dark fantasy. Here you'll find everything from bloodthirsty curses to interdimensional godlike beings set on enslaving all humankind or wiping us all out like a bug smeared on your windshield. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 epic dark fantasy anime. Number 1. Legend of Lemnir. Released in August of 1989 as an OVA, which to those not in the know stands for Original Video Animation. It's fascinating to see the different techniques used throughout these past few decades. Storylines were a little more simple, and action and fighting scenes are not as detailed as they are now, especially considering many classic anime had individual hand-drawn frames, whereas now everything is digital. Copy and paste. What a wonderful invention. However, it's nice to go back to the beginning with this epic tale of sword, sorcery, and ancient evil. We are introduced to Lemnir ordering a drink in a bar. She's arrived at a city that's dealing with an evil lord, the same lord who killed everybody in her village. She desperately wants revenge on the demonic rulers who essentially destroyed her life. Lemnir ends up being arrested for a fight and is taken to the dungeon where the lord keeps his harem. While locked up, she learns of a prophecy that a champion of silver will change the champion of bronze to gold. Initially taken aback, she begins to wonder what her role is in this prophecy. She manages to escape the dungeon and then meets up with another survivor from her village named Mesh. The Lord originally thought Mesh was the champion of silver, but as luck would have it, she's actually the champion of bronze. Now Lemnir and Mesh go into battle, with Lemnir realizing her true powers, and she finally releases them just as Mesh transforms into the champion of gold. It's a blast from the past, a nostalgic tale that I love revisiting when I'm a little down. It helps motivate me to do more and be better. Make sure to check out this amazing tale on YouTube, Roku, or Hi Anime. Number 2. Blade of the Phantom Master. Munsu, one of the few guardians left that fights against tyranny and corruption, all the while hunting down the perpetrators who demolished his country. In the land of Jushin, there's a secret group of government who travel all around the country in disguise. Well, as the series starts out, Jushin is destroyed, leaving factions around that are being ruled by evil warlords. Very quickly, we learn that Munsu's travels actually have a purpose, though it seems random at first. There is a method to his madness. Munsu is on the hunt for the people who destroyed the land and killed his friend, the king. After some time and vengeance dished out, Munsu meets with some old friends and comrades, where he learns a harrowing truth. And no, I won't spoil it for you. I give this film a lot of credit as it's the first crossover from South Korea to Japan. And when Japan took it over on their end, yes, some cultural differences will appear. But it stayed true and fluid throughout the entire film. It's a phenomenal stance on a tyrannical government, and watching that asshole of a leader get taken down. Make sure to check out the beginning of this war on Prime. I'm sure you'll love it. Number 3. Vampire Hunter D. It's interesting that in 1985, America got their first animated horror film with Vampire Hunter D. Set in the year 12,090 AD, after complete annihilation from a nuclear holocaust, the world is nothing that we knew before. First, we're introduced to Doris, who seems to be on patrol for something. Unsuspectedly, a vampire lord named Count Magnus Lee attacks the innocent Doris for coming onto his land. Doris is utterly terrified of becoming an evil bloodsucker, and luckily for her, she meets a mysterious man named Dee. Doris learns he's a ruthless vampire hunter, so she hires him to kill the vampire lord before she turns. She arrives in town with Dee and her brother Dan, and is confronted by Greco, the mayor's son, who gives Doris a choice. He tells her that he'll kill the vampire lord in exchange for her to be solely his, which kudos to her, she rejects him on the spot. Dee is now trying to keep Doris out of the local asylum, at least until he kills the evil leech. Later, Doris's farm is attacked and a battle breaks out between Dee and Count Lee's daughter. Unfortunately, Doris is kidnapped and now Dee races to the castle to break her out. And this is the cliffhanger I'll leave you on. It's an intense story that left me on the edge of my seat. The animation is not on the 2025 level, but for how this aged, it makes it that much more dark and terrifying. This film is based on Hideki Kikuchi's written works, and there's plenty of them. The franchise then bloomed into manga, video games, series, and films. So it's ironic to know that Kikuchi does not like anime. But go on a wild adventure over on Prime and check this story out. Number 4, Berserk. The original manga starts off with a backstory of our protagonist, Guts, as he was born to a hanged woman, goes to live with his adoptive family, where the mother dies and Guts kills the father in self-defense, fleeing the land he once called home. This is where the series picks up as we see Guts traveling through the world, when he encounters a mercenary group called the Band of the Hawk. Guts befriends Griffith, the leader, and Guts quickly becomes the most trusted warrior in the group. One night, Guts hears Griffith confide in a princess that nobody is a true friend unless they have a dream of their own, so Guts decides to leave. Griffith then challenges Guts to a fight, hoping he'll win, and Guts will have to stay. But it doesn't turn out that way. This leaves Griffith completely devastated, causing him to have poor life decisions, which ends up with Griffith getting arrested and tortured. Years later, Guts is now a better swordsman and learns his old group is now a bunch of outlaws. So he heads back to help them out. Guts is able to get Griffith out, and after he tries to take his own life, he learns he's started an event that is going to cause mass casualties. The entire final episodes are brilliant, action-packed, and beautiful animation. It does take some more root in religion, but it's nothing you can't overlook if you're not into that. But I was impressed with this one. The manga goes more in depth, but just for a basic story, this is a great one. Make sure to check this out on Crunchyroll, Roku, or Prime. Number 5, Claymore. With some of the best character development I've ever seen, Claymore is a must-watch. We follow Claire, who's a human-Yoma hybrid, and member to an organization that takes on these humanoid shapeshifter things called Yoma. The organization decided to create these hybrids to defeat the Yomas, who keep feeding on the people of the land. Initially, the organization created both male and female hybrids, but decided against the males because they climax way too quickly, if you know what I mean. And the females are able to suppress it. So by hitting that climax, the hybrid is able to form into their awakened state, more deadly than before. Now, with women warriors, the public refers to them as claymores. But these women are on a mission. As we follow Claire, she ends up saving a boy and takes him on as her companion. Due to a flashback, we learn that Claire is on her own mission and everybody must prepare for death. The animation is so crisp and fluid, it almost felt magical and hopeful. I love how Claire goes from this badass warrior to caring for another, only to turn into the woman to fear with the demon riding her spirit as she takes on all those that have harmed her. This is a short series with only 26 episodes so far, but it has quite a few mangas and a video game adaptation as well. And I hear the video game is thrilling. But you can check this out on Crunchyroll or Prime. I'm sure you'll have a good time. Number 6, Goblin Slayer. I just recently saw this series and the first season is epic. We're first introduced to Priestess as she arrives at the guild to enroll to be an adventurer. Meets with some other newbie adventurers who are going on an adventure to kill some goblins. The 3 kids she meets up with will think this is a walk in the park, and boy are they wrong. They get to the cave and are met with hordes of goblins, nothing like any of them thought. It isn't too long before the kids are tortured, sodomized, and slowly and brutally killed. Priestess is able to get away and tries to save one of the members of the team, but it's no use. In her frightened state, she almost gives up, but out of the shadows enters a man covered head to toe in armor, wielding a short blade, quickly killing off the vermin. He identifies himself as Goblin Slayer, and now Priestess wants to stay with him and aid in future battles. At the guild, everybody says he's weird, only going after these lowly creatures, but he's on a mission to rid the world of their evil. The storyline flows so easily, and the animation in the first season is crisp, with the right kind of color palette in each scene. Plus, there's a lot of killing that you'll see. However, the second season switches animators, and the story doesn't seem to flow as well as season 1. Originally, Goblin Slayer is a man of few words. Then the second season comes around, and he's explaining so much more. He's not as mysterious, so it doesn't feel like it's the same person. It was still an epic watch, and one I will be watching again. So make sure to experience this adventure over on Crunchyroll or Prime. Number 7, Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy. The manga was written and illustrated by Kazushi Hagiwara, who is a huge fan of 80s rock and Dungeons & Dragons, which the series is based on. The series was first released from 1992 until 1993, which was later picked up again by Netflix and aired from June 2022 till 2023. In the original series, we learn that there is an evil wizard locked away in a little boy, and the wizard can be released by a kiss from a virgin. Dark Schneider is released, and he's not on board with what the High Priest wants. So Dark goes looking for God to seek his revenge. After all, Dark didn't want to kill anybody prior to this. Well, Dark is able to go back and forth with being in this little boy's body, almost like his hideout, if you will, and every time a virgin kisses the boy, Dark comes out. Turns out, Dark just needs to save the world from the evil entities in it. So as I said, the creator was a fan of 80s rock, and it shows throughout the entire series. Names are so similar to famous musicians and bands, such as the land being named Metallicana, and the god of destruction being named Anthrax. Then he adds in all the fantasy and magic. He wrote what he knew and did a damn fine job with it. Make sure to rock this out on Netflix or Prime. Number 8, Attack on Titan. In a post-apocalyptic world, giant humanoid creatures are roaming the earth called Titans, who feed off the humans who have survived. We first meet Aaron, an ambitious young man who witnesses his mother get eaten by a Titan and vows to train to become the best Titan killer there is. Unfortunately for him, he also gets eaten, but has a strange power that he didn't expect. He is able to keep his human conscience and realize he can control the Titans to do his bidding. Eren begins his wars against the Titans as he wants them eradicated. This is just season 1, and there's so much more that goes on after. Like in season 2, the police figure out the origin of the Titans. Season 3 though, that had me shook. The 3rd season has an eye-opening moment when it's revealed that Eren and his mother are actually Titans working together to save everybody else. The entire show is just intense and had me wanting more. There's so much going on and realizations left and right, but they all make sense. Plus the animations is spot on with color and lines. Just speaks volumes about what's really happening. Dive into this battle on Crunchyroll, Sling, Hulu, Roku, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. And leave yourself enough time to finish the whole series in one watch. It'll be worth it. Number 9. Shonen on Myoji. The manga was first distributed in 2001 and still is going strong. So in October of 2006, we got the anime. We follow Masahiro, who seems like an ordinary kid, has no real talents or anything really special about him. But he is a grandson of Saime, the greatest master on Myoji. Masahiro ends up meeting with a mysterious Monoke, who leads him down a path of self-discovery and opening his sixth sense. Masahiro quickly gets into training, and one day his father takes him to a castle where he meets a princess. However, the castle bursts into flames as spirits attack the princess, and Masahiro needs to protect her. After this, Masahiro is sent on many different adventures, thrilling mysteries, all in the sake of becoming the best on Myoji there is. The animation is top-notch, providing light where it's needed, and reaching the darkest of hues as the demons come forth. It's very visually stunning. The story doesn't lag either, as it just keeps going forward, building character arcs and the lore. I'm not gonna lie either, I was confused on when this took place. Turns out it was like the 1st century or so. And an Onmyoji is basically a cop or something along those lines who uses magic and divination. It was nice to see some more of Japanese lore brought into this, as it was an actual profession back then. And maybe we need some more history lessons in life. But you can check this out on Prime or Funimation. Number 10. Overlord. A new game surges the world, especially in Japan, with the premise to dive into this very large role-playing game that takes place in the fictional world of Yggdrasil. As everything does, the popularity has gone down, and after 12 years, Yggdrasil is gonna die. On the day the game is gonna be shut down, one player, Eins Ulgaun, decides to stick it out till the end, thinking he'll just get booted out of the server. Unfortunately, he gets stuck in this fantasy land, stuck as a massive skeleton with nobody around, or so it seems. As Ents walks around the guild, he sees a lot of NPCs and decides to give them something to do. But as midnight hits in the real world, Eins has been fully immersed into Momonga, his character, and the NPCs become self-aware, able to maintain conversations. But Eins is still confused as to what to do. As time goes on, he realizes he can go out and about and ends up helping save the world as the NPCs know it. I was blown away by this one, knowing it's something that has kind of been done before, but not really. It really has to be my favorite on this list. The quippy one-liners, the obsessive women, the way he wants to be a good guy and redeem himself. Plus, Momonga is this skeleton, but not a normal one, and it just looks so weird, but it brings that creep factor up. It's one I highly recommend and think you'll love. So check it out on Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Roku, Prime, Apple TV, or Crunchyroll. You won't regret it. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.